Chapter 42. Jen. It's clear that Michael really wants me to like this. 2 days ago, if someone had suggested that I would be viewing Christina Patterson's barn as a potential wedding venue, I would have screamed with laughter. To be honest, the thought of viewing any potential wedding venue would have this effect. Now I've been thrown into this parallel universe where you need to know the difference between bruschetta, grissini and crostini and arrange a seating plan with enough diplomacy that World War III won't break out before the best man's speech. I'm drifting down the river, carried by the rapids, and all I can do is go with it. I mean, yes, it's a fantastic house. The barn is large and spacious, but as Christina talks about heaters and fairy lights, I can see that it could be a really special venue. Completely private, with no other parties in the function room next door, as it would be with a hotel, or just other guests ambling round and stumbling into your group photo session. I also love the way that it would be, and I hate myself for using this word, bespoke. Christina makes it clear that we can dictate the menu, layout and setup, and how her mother loves trying new things and would be happy to accommodate us. It does bother me that essentially we would be their guinea pigs because they've never done a wedding before. So, what do you think? Michael puts an arm around my waist. I'll give you guys some space. Christina backs towards the door. Come back to the house when you're ready. Once she's gone, Michael draws me closer. Admit it, you like it more than you expected. I can't help but smile. It does seem pretty ideal, really, apart from the fact that they've never done this before. But they'll work so hard to make sure they get it right for us, he argues. Plus, with most places booked, we don't have a lot of choice right now. I know, I sigh. I'm sure they will do an amazing job. It feels like everything they touch is golden. You're not jealous of Christina, are you? Michael leans down to scrutinise my expression. What, of her flawless appearance, her impressive qualifications, or the fact that she's grade 8 harp and a tennis champion? I joke. You just need to get to know her, Michael says. She's not one of those Instagram #perfect life people. Like David's girlfriend, you mean? Exactly. Just because someone has a bit of money doesn't make their life perfect. But it does allow them to make a huge amount more money because they can afford to convert barns in their back garden. Michael sighs in defeat. Is this going to be a yes or a no? I look up at the beams overhead and the rustic posts, imagining them wrapped with ribbons and fairy lights. I picture tables with all our family and friends, candlelight and soft music. I try to put myself in a white dress at the centre of it all, although this is hard to muster. The truth is, I have no reason to say no. Let's do this. I seal it with a kiss. We arrive back at Michael's parents' house on a sugar high. Firstly, Christina and her mother were over the moon when we said we'd love to hold the reception there. Secondly, Juliet insisted on us taste testing not only her mince pies but also her shortbread and mini pastries with white chocolate and raspberry filling. Heavenly. But as we shut the door with a bang and stumble over each other to kick off our shoes and find Ezra and Heather to tell them the great news, Rachel comes out of the living room scowling and stomps upstairs. When we step into the lounge, it feels like a courtroom. Ezra and Heather sit on the sofa together, and Heather jumps up flushing as she turns over a notebook in her hands. How did it go? She asks. Great, we decided to go for it, Michael answers, with a guarded expression and less enthusiasm than he showed 5 minutes earlier. That's lovely, Heather says nervously, then looks awkwardly at Ezra. He makes a gesture in motion with his hands to urge her to continue. Well, Heather licks her lips. We thought we'd write down a few more names to suggest for the guest list. My eyes widen as I turn to Michael, who takes my hand in a mark of solidarity. He reaches out for the notebook and she hands it over. He scans it silently while I peek to see a page of scrawling Mr. and Mrs. couples and families with double-barreled surnames. We'll discuss it, Michael says, in a tone not dissimilar to David Clark responding to a member of staff's request for a pay rise. But this would completely change the budget we've agreed with the Pattersons. We realise that, Heather says hurriedly, so we thought we would offer to pay for these guests to attend, so it doesn't affect your budget. Great, so now there will be 10 chasers for every one of my guests. That's very kind of you, Michael replies coolly, but it's not just about the budget. We don't want a big wedding. We'll review the names together, but we need to be happy with the people attending. Why would you possibly be unhappy with our oldest and dearest friends, who you've known your entire life, attending your wedding? Ezra says incredulously. I could never face them again if I had to tell them you were getting married but they weren't invited. You can blame it on me and restricted numbers, Michael says, keeping his tone calm. The computer says no? Ezra makes sarcastic air quotes, then shakes his head in disgust. It's not about you, Dad, Michael retorts sharply. Ouch. I was just trying to be involved. Ezra stands and faces the door like he's about to leave the room. I notice your invitation to your mother to help didn't include me. I look down because it was me who said it, not Michael. You don't look like you want to be involved, Michael accuses. Heather looks about to cry. Can I just leave, or will that look bad? This came out of nowhere. Ezra gestures towards me. So I'm this now. Funny, I didn't think the groom had to ask his own father for permission before proposing. Michael's face is starting to turn pink. Why don't I make some coffee? Heather says, her voice wobbling. I use this as my excuse to leave too, heading up the stairs and leaving Michael to have it out with his dad alone. That's not a conversation I want to be part of. As I get to the top of the stairs, I hear a sob coming from Rachel's room. I hesitate. Should I knock and see if she's all right? But she barely knows me. As I hover, I hear her talking. She must be on the phone. It's no good. I can't tell them, I hear her say. I know. Can we talk later? I love you. I probably shouldn't have heard that, and afraid that she might throw open the door and catch me eavesdropping, I tiptoe back to Michael's room and sink onto the bed. My sugar high has turned into a crash.